Grace here again, interview advisor at VanHack, and I brought one more successful story. We have Sebastian here, who got hired in 2023 as a backend engineer. How are you doing, Sebastian?
Hi, Grace. All good. Doing fine.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us here today. So, before I say too much about you, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm from Colombia, currently working in Vancouver for a company in Canada. It's been already like a year and 2 months since I moved to Canada, but I started working with them remotely. Pretty much, I've been working my whole career as a software engineer, mostly in backend, but I at this point I'm feel comfortable working in all different approaches of software development.
Awesome. So, wow, you got hired in 2023, right?
Yes,
And
that's right.
before getting hired for this company in Canada, had you had the chance to work with uh, international companies before?
Well, I used to work for a services company. So even though I was hired in Colombia, I was working for a client in the US. So I did have some of like experience working with companies abroad. Now that I'm working for a Canadian company, part of the culture is way different because before I was working for companies in the US. So yeah, I had some experience around that.
For you, what was the most shocking part when you started working for the Canadian one?
Well, probably the way people treat like scheduling and like responsibility. So usually we have like unofficial work office hours of 9 to 5, but there is a lot of flexibility. People try to balance a lot, like work together with life, and everybody is kind of checking always if you like are fine. If you have family problems, they always encourage you to like take care of yourself and your family instead of like just working. So I wasn't expecting that, even though I know like people is pretty kind in Canada. Like that was pretty good, as you always when you start working for a new company, you have this like pressure of okay, I have to deliver and work like a lot. But they were most like focused on how you feel, how is it being like moving to a new country, how can we help you. So that kind of thinking way of thinking on in the Canadian culture in a Canadian office, I think it was surprisingly good for me.
Yeah, so well, I think first was the impact when you started working remotely because you worked remotely for a little bit, right? You were mentioning that you moved to Canada in 2024.
Yes, that's right. So, well, remotely, they were mostly always asking, like, are you ready for the moving? Is there something we can help? But I guess, like, they were just asking more questions. But now that when after I moved there, like, people was just always willing, like, if I needed a ride or like suggestions on restaurants or places to make groceries. So, more like that support when I started living there, like people was more present and wanted to be more present, even though they were always asking questions. That was kind of cool.
Awesome. And how was the decision for you when you received the offer? Like first off, I want to understand what did you feel when you received the offer and knowing that could be possible to relocate. So can you describe the feeling for whoever's watching here us?
Well, it was pretty. Um, I was pretty happy. It was quite a fast process because on that moment it was the first like interview process I followed, and I was always like preparing. So I signed up in VanHack probably 2 or 3 years before I actually received that interview. I prepared my profile. When I saw the offer, I knew I was like a good candidate. When they contacted me, I had some travel plans. So all the process that they usually do, like in 3 interviews, it was shrink down to one long interview.
Wow.
So it was quite stressful at the beginning. Um, I remember I had the interview on a Friday. Then I was traveling for vacations. It was a pretty special travel because I got my wife proposed to me on that
Aw.
on that trip. And the day after that, I received the offer from Maximizer.
Wow, it's one great news after the other. That's amazing.
Yeah, so pretty much everything happened in 5 days.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's actually really interesting that you're bringing this, Sebastian, because that's what we tell the candidates. Even when we have webinars, one of the questions that we receive the most is how many process or how many interviews do I need to apply to until I get an offer? What is the average successful cases? Really depends. We had candidates before that they applied for 50 plus jobs and then they got a job offer. For you, it was very fast, but that all depends, right? So,
yeah, and something that I really appreciate is that they were pretty open to accommodate to those like things, because I was even considering to cancel my trip to have all the interviews, and they were like, "No, go do your thing. We can squeeze the interviews here, and we will let you know." So they were pretty open. And with VanHack, I also like, as everything was that fast, I got like these mock interviews, and everything was scheduled like right on time. Everything was extremely fast. I know it's not common because I have other like coworkers who went through the same process, but the openness from everyone to like accommodate, I think it was also pretty good.
awesome. Well, Sebastian just mentioned here, audience, that he went through mock interviews. And I saw before and was, hey, I see here that you had a few mock interviews. Do you remember who talked to you? Actually, it was me.
Indeed, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I would like to understand and also for you to share a little bit. How was this preparation? What did you find the most helpful for you in the process?
Well, so as I mentioned it, I signed up in the platform like way a long time ago, and during that process, I was always like preparing, like reading about preparing for interviews, and but the problem with doing that by yourself is that you don't know what is actually right and what is not right. So I had like a long list of, okay, I have to do this, and that, but I didn't knew what to focus in. So the mock interview, the good thing about that, it was like I came to this mock interview, and I had an idea of what could I offer, and you helped me to kind of shrink down those things. So okay, let's focus on these 4 or 5 points that are like the key skills based on the offer, the company, and my previous work experience. So like shrinking down the huge list of things I had and being able to focus, I think it was pretty useful, especially because after I got hired, I talked with the persons that were part of those interviews, and they mentioned at some points that I recall that at that moment I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about those, and after the mock, that I got the certainty that I should talk about those points were actually good points that they saw based on my profile and the offer, and that allowed me to get the offer.
That's amazing. Wow, I'm super proud here. Really happy that everything worked out. And wow, of course, this is about your career. We talked a little bit about your journey through the other jobs that you had and transitioning to Canadian job market. So apart from the marriage and apart from the job offer, what has changed for you career-wise, Sebastian?
Well, I think I was always like looking for like a big mentoring and like experts on what I do right now. So in this company, I got that mentoring. There's amazing people in this company, and I think it's related, but I do have a lot of coworkers that come from VanHack. So there's like a way of thinking, a way of working that works for all of us. I see them as my mentors. So career-wise, they have helped me to understand things outside of the technical like environment. So business perspectives, their experiences as well as like immigrants, not only in Canada, but they have experiences in other countries, their way to see like life. So that also like opened my brain in terms of what I can do and right now at what I will be able to do like in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that's great to hear. There's definitely a very, very diverse country. And when we talk about different nationalities, there's a whole background, right? And that's amazing that worked for you, worked for your family. So happy to have you here. And if you could give one advice for whoever is there in the same situation as you were before, and maybe thinking of investing in this international career, what would you say?
Well, there are probably two things I would suggest. Like the first one is be prepared, because if this is something you are looking for, be prepared because the opportunity will be there. It usually requires a little bit of luck, but if you are prepared, you can take that moment of luck in your advantage. I think that was my case. I was prepared at the right moment at the right time. And secondly, I would say if anyone has the opportunity to move abroad or work for a company abroad, take it, because there will be always learning, not only in the technical perspective, as this is mostly like related to developers and people in the technology industry, but also life experiences, like understanding other cultures, see how others see life and how others behave. That knowledge, independent of the career growth, it's really useful for anyone. I'm pretty sure it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your advices, Sebastian, and thank you so much for accepting today this call and be here to share your experience. And for you who's watching this video, just please stick with us, keep applying, be prepared, as Sebastian said. It's really good to predict. I mean, we never know when the opportunities will be there, but if you are prepared, there is a high chance that you can just be ready, like right time, like right place, right time, right?
That's right.
So thank
Yeah.
you so much, and see you in the next successful case.